You're listening to Castle Rock First United Methodist Church's Sermon Podcast. If you'd like to learn more about Castle Rock FUMC, you can go online at fumccr.org. Thank you, and have a good day.
I love Christmas Eve. I love Christmas Eve more than I love Christmas, because Christmas Eve to me is that time of when it actually happens, at least in my head. I know it's not the way it actually happened. And we have to take that in consideration, that like all of this that we read to you tonight didn't like happen in succinct order, in like perfect timing and clean and just perfect telling of the story. Because let's be real, most stories are a little bit messy. Some of the details get left out, or some of the details get kind of a little bit torqued a little bit, just to make people feel more comfortable. Because I love the story. One of the reasons why I love Christmas Eve is because when we gather in this night, we're gathering to hear the story. See, really, like, it doesn't matter what I preach to you tonight. What really matters is the story. It's about the story of Jesus coming and being with us. It's God being with us in Emmanuel. And it's one of those opportunities that we get to reconnect with God. I love this season because it reminds me of really what we should be focusing on. We all know the Mariah Carey, "All I Want for Christmas Is You." You know, as I was listening to that song, because you can't escape that song no matter how hard you try, I really came to the idea that really all I want for Christmas is Jesus. And what I mean by that is that I know that there are times in my life where I have disconnected. There are times in my life where I'm not as connected to God as I need to be. And what a better way to remind myself that God's grace is there for me, because God understands who and the pains that I've gone through, because God has come down here to be with us in Emmanuel. And what a better way to center ourselves in our walks of faith, and no matter where we are on life's journey, to come to this space to hear the story, because that's what matters. All we want for Christmas really should be Jesus, and everything else is cake. Everything else is just a gift. And so I want to challenge you tonight to think about how you can connect with Jesus in such a way that will shape you and change you, just like those that would have heard this story over 2,000 years ago would have been shaped and changed and be willing to do great things. This story inspired people to do great things. And all we have to do, really, is be like Mary and submit to God and say, "Yes, I am your servant." Now let me be the angel and say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid where God may be calling you. Don't be afraid where God may be leading you. And what I really mean by that is, like, you know, that subtle tug, or maybe like one of the reasons why you're here tonight is because there was something dragging you here. It may have been a family member or anything else that might have guilted you into being here. I really believe that that's the Holy Spirit speaking to you through your family member or anybody else that guilted you to come here tonight. Because I believe in that much power in the Holy Spirit to speak through other people. The Holy Spirit can speak through you. Through me. And so when we submit to that tugging, that calling, it shapes us and changes us and calls us to serve in such a way that we glorify God in everything we do. And so how are you going to let the incarnation, God being with us, change your life? What do you need to let go of? What walls have you built up to put between you and God? What excuses, or like I like to say a lot of times, what butts are you putting in the way? Could you imagine if Mary would have told the angel, Angel, this just isn't going to work for me. I'm a little young. I'm not even married yet. Like, she even did try to say that. But maybe next year, or maybe 5 or 6 years down the line, when Joseph and I are a little bit more secure financially and everything's going well, like maybe then, can we do it then? That's not how God works. When God needs you, God's going to use you, whether you're ready or not. And so I really do believe that the challenge tonight is this: reconnecting with God and hearing that story and saying, yes, if Jesus were to come and knock, if Joseph and Mary were saying, we need a place in the inn, saying yes is an answer to the call. So don't be afraid to say yes and answer that call that God has placed on your heart. Because when you do that, you will do great things. And if there's anything that Jesus has taught me, is that great things can come in all sizes. So don't be afraid, even if it's small. It can change the world, at least around you. And who knows what kind of impact you may have. Let us pray.